Hi, Sandy the sewer here, coming to you from the banks of the Missouri River in Yankton, South Dakota. And I thought I'd comb my hair and put on some lipstick. I don't want to scare the horses. And I would make a video about how to make the Olson mask, which is the mask that the Avera Hospital Corporation is asking for. And that's what we've put out a request for in Yankton, at Avera, and at the Human Services Center in Yankton here, the state hospital. So thanks to all of you who have already started making masks. There's 3 different mask patterns floating around out there, but I want to focus on the Olson mask. And forgive me if one time I mentioned it as the Hansen mask on Facebook. Olson Hansen, I'm sure they're related. But many of you have printed this handout out from the internet, from the Avera site, and it is fairly good, but sometimes watching a video can be so much better and easier to understand. One thing I think that we need to clarify right off the bat is people have given me some questions about size, and people's printers print out things at different scales. Now, I don't know how to explain any of that, but what I can tell you is that on the pattern piece that you print out, this side 4 on face 2 should measure 3 1/8 to 3 1/4 inch for a size large, and 2 7/8 to 3 inch for a medium. And you can either, if you're great at monkeying with your printer and making that go down to that size, or if you can do like I did and just measure and just draw around and make it the size that you need for a medium. This one happens to print out at the large, and that's the one I'm going to show you how to make today. Medium and large, they go together the same way, but please be mindful of that measurement. And I think it should be on the actual pattern, but I noticed that on the directions on this piece it says printed 100% for large and 90% for medium. I didn't know how to make mine go down 90%, so I just made it come out to a medium being 2 7/8 to 3 inches, okay? Now, another thing that's a little confusing about this pattern is that they gave you all sorts of pieces. There's 6 pieces. There's face 1, face 2. All you need to do is cut out face 1, mouth 1, and cheek 1, okay? And anybody who sews clothing or knows that when you cut a pattern piece out, you put your wrong sides together, you pin your pattern piece on, and you cut it out, and you get enough, you get your left and right sides of whatever it is that you need, and so you get the proper pieces that you need. That's all you need to do for this pattern as well. For sake of demonstrating today, I've cut this out in different colors so that you can see how it's going to go together. So that's the cutting it out, okay? So once you've cut it out, there's a couple things that you need to do first. And the first thing you need to do is you're going to press under an edge on the cheek piece and on the mouth piece, okay? These are the inside pieces, the pieces that are going to be next to the wearer's face. And you're going to stitch those with a 1/4 inch seam. Just press it, nothing fancy. I used a different color thread here so that you can see what I'm doing. And hopefully, Jake, you can zoom in on that, okay? So those are your pieces that you're going to do for the inside of the mask. When you're making masks, I suggest that you chain piece these. Just do all of these at one time, like maybe cut out 6 masks at a time, and do all of these steps at the same time to speed things up for yourself, okay? So what you're going to do then is you're going to put the right sides together on this inside piece, this one that I just showed you, and you're going to stitch right there, okay? And put in a few little clips there so that it will go lay a little better. Now, this is the front part of the mask, okay? And same thing here, you're going to stitch that curved edge right there and put in a few clips. And before you go any further, I think a good idea with this is to top stitch down this seam. I think it gives stability in the when you launder it, and it just gives the mask a little better stability. And so to do that, I'm just going to stitch down right kind of next to that seam through that seam allowance, which is pressed to one side, okay? This is nothing hard. Nobody's gonna come and measure it or do anything like that. Just get her done, okay? So now we're all ready to put this mask together. Now there's some directions here that I think are kind of confusing for people, so I want to simplify things a little bit here. You're going to put this one looking at you right side, okay? Then you're going to take this inside mouthpiece, right sides together, you are going to put it on top. And take these seams, and in sewing we call this nesting. One's going to go one way and one's going to go to, the other way, and they're going to be butted together, and then you won't have as much bulk. And you're going to do the same thing at the bottom. Okay, one seam's going one way and one's going the other. And stick a pin in. Okay, now get it looking at you like this, okay? So now we're going to take our cheek pieces and we are going to put those down like so. Now they tell you to sew this together 1 inch there. I don't know, I skipped that step and I think you can too. If you do it this way with a little bit of pinning, you'll save a lot of time. Okay, so here you go. I'm gonna put in a pin right here. And I'm gonna put in a pin right here where they overlap. You see that the cheek piece overlaps the mouth piece. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And you know, some of this stuff isn't lined up so perfect. Don't sweat it. Just get her done. Okay, now I'm varying the directions a little bit. I'm going to sew here, and I'm going to sew here, and we're going to speed things up a little bit. So, here you go. Just a 1/4 inch seam, and if you get off a little bit, don't worry about it. I like to do a little bit of a back stitch there. Just be careful. I don't like to sew over pins, so I kind of pull those out. Scooch that, make it as even as you can to get that seam allowance. Now I'm going over the center part where those two seams are nested together, easy peasy. Here comes the other cheek area. A little bit of back stitch. Okay, so I've stitched that part. Now I'm going to do the bottom seam. Bottom of the mask, same thing. Last night we had to oil and grease the old singer here. I call her Shirley because she was the original owner, and she's sounding pretty darn good today. Okay. We'll clip off those threads. And now we're going to turn this mask right sides out. See, get in there and just rough her up a little bit. So you can see this is the inside of my mask where the mouth is, and there's the cheek pieces. And the reason this pocket is there is because the hospital people want to be able to insert some kind of a filter there. I don't know what it is, but this is what they have asked for. Now you're going to give this a little press just to get that seam kind of flattened out there. Press on the bottom as well. Man, I feel like I'm back doing a 4-H demonstration. But there's nobody that's going to be judging this. They're just going to be so glad that you're getting masks done for them. No one's going to care about your sewing if it's not perfect. Just do the best you can and get her done. Okay, so now I have the mask. You can see how it's going to go. We have these edges here that we need to deal with. Now in the original pattern, they had you sew and turn that out. We're going to speed things up a little bit here. We're simply going to take a and press this like so. Do that on either side, okay? And also I would add, we really should top stitch here as well. Top stitch very close to the edge here and here. Not because we're trying to make such a wonderful garment to be judged or something, but because the top stitching helps provide a little bit more stability for the mask when it's laundered, because these things are going to be washed every stinking day, and you know it, they need to be. That's really important. So I'm gonna skip that right now for the sake of time, but that's what you should do. So I've pressed under this 1/4 inch here, and I need to make a casing for my strings. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna give her another shot of steam here. Okay, same thing over here. And stitch it down. Here we go. Here's one side. Here's the other. Okay, casings are finished. Clip off those threads. Notice that I was back stitching there. It's a good idea to do that. Gives that seam just a little more strength to withstand the use that these masks are going to have. Now, here's where we get into some variants. The next step, which is how are you going to tie these things? Elastic is not plentiful. We've got elastic shortage right now. If you have elastic, you can make your loops. You can follow the directions on the pattern. Personally, I'm over elastic. I am totally over it. This is my new thing. This is a 1-inch strip of t-shirt, okay? We have a ton of t-shirts. Okay, so I cut this. This happens to be from a 3XL t-shirt, so it's a big piece of t-shirt. And I take it and I go like this and I pull it. Ta-da! I've got this neat little string. Okay, so now I'm going to use that string. I'm going to, good old technique here, just put it on a safety pin, pull her through. I always like to put a little knot on the end of these things to keep them from going through the casing. Okay, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. I also love the fact that this is recycling something. You know, t-shirts, we have so many of them, and it always makes me feel good to recycle something like that. Know that it's getting another use and a very valuable time for a valuable project. Okay, so now we have our ties in. People often ask me, how long do these things have to be? Well, most of the guidelines say they should be 16 inches beyond the edge of the mask, 16 to 18. But you know, this thing's gonna stretch. This really, you know, stretches. They're very comfortable to wear. A lot of medical people tell me that they don't like elastic because it hurts, okay? So the one last thing that I would do on this, just to make sure that your ties don't come out, is I would just run a little stitch across here just to secure that elastic, like so. Or I'm not the elastic, I mean the the tie. You don't need a fancy sewing machine to do these things. If you can go forwards and backwards, that's all you need. And now your mask is finished. All you need to do is trim off any goofy loose threads you have there. And there you have it, people. So this is a tutorial for the Olson mask, the one that's required by Avera. They're not that hard. Thank you for making them. Feel free to share this video with anyone who might be struggling with the directions or the pattern pieces. Remember, anyone can do this. You can even get your kids sewing on it, get your family involved. It makes you feel good to do something. Thank you for watching and stay healthy. Bye-bye.